Start start us up.
Dave is dying.
Mm,
Dave can't be sick 3 months like me. I'm a tough guy, but he's dying.
I am.
So his doctor finally gave him a Z pack, which he never listens. I've been telling him to go take one, and then he won't die. But he sounds like a frog. His throat is sore. He's eating ice cream in front of me, making me hungry,
Hmm.
and the viewers. No care for us. He didn't bring enough for everybody.
Yeah. So
Oh, listen to the frog. Speak,
last
frog.
Sat last Saturday. Today is Saturday, but a week ago Saturday,
Hmm.
um, I felt my throat getting like raspy a little bit. I was like, eh. I did a lot of talking during the week. I was all this stuff, and I was like, I lose my voice a little bit. I think it was Tuesday. I woke up. I was like, yep, I'm sick. And
Thought it was pollen.
yeah, and it really wasn't in my nose. Like it was just it's all chest and throat. So then um it just got worse, and then I think it was what, Thursday. I got the Z pack. Yeah, I think it was Thursday. I just did a virtual visit over the phone, and she was like, yeah, get a Z pack. So I took a Z pack Thursday at 12 was the first dose, and then progressively gotten better since. It's only been 2 days, but I'm gotten a little bit better.
By last night, you was ready to do cartwheels.
Yep, I was ready to do backflips and cartwheels. So here we are today, still recovering. It's crazy, ridiculous.
This is Memorial Day weekend.
Yep,
Y'all be safe out there.
and I got a chest infection, and I'm eating ice cream, and I lost 12 pounds in 3 days because of lack of eating because my throat was so sore. So I've been eating. This is the best ice cream, by the way.
What's it
It's
say?
it. It's it's called Ice Cream for Bears.
Makes you crap like a bear.
Yep, it's
You'll
good
lose.
stuff.
You'll be down to 15 pounds, and which is a great segue into what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, Chris is gonna do most of the talking. I'm gonna sit
So,
here and eat this ice cream,
so Dave's on a big diet.
and if he says something stupid, I'll correct him.
Dave's on a diet. So I saw some podcasts. I see posts all the time by one of our mutual friends, and what we're going to talk about today is like a fitness plan towards your hunting season. Now, I really don't have a fitness program. Uh, Dave's fitness ice cream in his belly, and yeah, we don't really practice this, but there's a lot of people out there that do. Like I said, we have a mutual friend, Howie. Howie's been on the show before. I think he did podcast episode 2 with us, I believe. Was it 2? We
I
had him
think it
on
was.
pretty early.
I think it was
It was,
two.
it was the first 5 anyhow. But Howie hunts a lot of mountainous area like I do, and he's big into fitness. He and this isn't about Howie, but I'm just gonna tell you what he does. Like he's jogging all the time. He's did this 75-day challenge thing where he went to the gym and um, getting all shredded up and dieting, and like he takes like a elk hunt every year. I don't know. Has he ever stuck one? I don't know if he's ever got one yet, but
I think I
he
saw a picture. He shot a cow
okay.
or female.
So he gets physically fit and prepared for these hunts. Um, Now, like I said, I'm not against it. I just do my thing. I ride a bike. I do lots of walking. I do lots of trail cameras where I'm in the mountains where I'm already hunting. So I'm doing lots of hills already because I obviously put the cameras where my stands are so I can see what's around. Um, and so I'm doing these side hills and haulers and things. So I'm already preparing myself that way. Um, so I was just wondering what you guys do. Drop in the comments if you do this. Do you do a fitness program geared towards hunting? Like these guys are throwing packs on and putting 50 pounds in a rucksack or something, and they're hiking. And I mean, Dave does hike. He likes to go walking every day or every other day. I don't know how often is he hikes quite often. Um, lately he's been adventuresome. He's been taking these fishing explorations, doing some fishing, and like I said, I personally, when I was a lot younger, I was in the gym a lot and stuff like that, and I thought I was physically fit. But when you start getting out and walking these mountainous trails and things, you find out that you get gassed pretty quick, me included. Uh, Especially a welder by trade. In my early days, young and dumb, I didn't wear a respirator, and my woods down here, I would go down to check on a woods plot or a stand or something, and I'd stop two or three times just getting back up to the house. I was totally gassed out. I was huffing for air, and I noticed a huge difference when I started wearing a respirator. So, a little tip for you guys to take care of yourselves. But yeah, you get a little older and wiser. But I wanted to say there was a couple videos that I put out. I go to this. Let me find the exact correct name because I don't want to mess it up. In the fall time, up in Benazet, where the Elk Viewing Center is,
I've been
every
there.
year, yeah, we made videos there. Um, we I go to this elk country archery challenge for shooters. Every year, Bill Adele, a fellow friend of mine, he's from the Pittsburgh area, he throws together this shoot. And what it is it simulates like if you was to take a Western hunt or something. And it's to prepare you for like worst case scenarios. Um, during the challenge, they have Dave wants to speak. During the challenge, they want to they run a distance with their packs on, with weight and things. One day they have like a race, and then they have like a 3D shoot another day, and then the day of the challenge itself, you start at a line and you're head to head against someone else, and they line up, and one person runs one way and one person runs the other direction in a straight line, a certain marked out distance, and they have to uh, carry weight in their hands. They're carrying weight in sacks. They run that distance, they drop it into a container, a sled basically, and they run back to the starting point. Someone hands them their bow, and there's four targets out there at marked distances. It's known distance, they know what it is. So they take the first shot, and they come back to the line, hand their bow off to their helper, grab another weight, carry it down to the sled. They come back, take the second shot. And this goes on four times. And by the fourth time, when they run down to that sled, they have to drag it back to the start line, and they take their final shot. So, what it does is it simulates the stress, the anxiety, the high heart rate, the breathing, and it makes you focus on your shot. So, it's a timed event, and they have certain age groups and things. So it's a pretty neat challenge. And like I said, that's in the Benazet area. I think there's open enrollment right now. You can sign up. I believe it's in August again this year, first or second week of August. And I'll probably go up and check it out again this year. If I was talking about actually competing one time, not in all that running and 3D shooting stuff. I can't get off work to do that, but the actual challenge part is on a Saturday. So I talked about doing that. I think they charge like $75 to do it, and they give away some nice prizes like brand new bows and things. So, but you get a, I guess, think you get a shooter shirt and everything with it, uh, that you can with for your $75 sign up, but it's really neat program. Okay, Dave, your turn. What was you gonna say?
Um, I was just gonna say when you started out the hiking thing for
Mhm.
myself, I do hike every day, usually about 2 miles. Um, sometimes flat, but there's a state park not far from me that has a bunch of hills, and I'll hit those. I'll go up the hill, and then it goes down. So you kind of get your heart rate up, and then back down again, and then up, and then back down again.
Mhm.
So I do that, but other than that, I don't
You
physically
s
like.
you just said doo doo.
I did. I don't physically like work out like weights or anything like that. I just don't do it. I used to long time ago, but I
Too
never did
old.
it. Yeah, I'm too old now, but I
Too
never
old.
did it physically for hunting. Like I think it's cool and all that people do all that stuff. Um, I think most of it is unnecessary, and most of it is for social media pictures, especially you see these people, you know, putting a deer over their neck and and carrying it out. That stuff is just for show, and so you don't need to do that to kill a deer. Like the people out west are in the mountains and they're you know elk hunting and all this other stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's probably beneficial to because you're going to be walking up in the mountains, and it could happen at any time where you're breathing hard and you have to draw your bow and shoot. Gun might be a little bit different, a little bit easier, but obviously with the bow hunting, yes, you probably should, you know, train for it and things. So these what you just described with these at Benazet, yeah, all that stuff's cool, probably beneficial. But for the average, tree stand bow hunter, you don't need to do all of that. Obviously, you want to do stuff to stay semi fit, in case you have to drag one or haul one on a deer cart or something. But generally, I mean, you could probably just get away with your standard push-ups, sit-ups, and walking, hiking, whatever. Um, kind of like a what's that guy's name? I can't think of the guy's name, but all he does is push-ups, sit-ups, and things, and he's
Mm.
really good shape. But
You Chris Worthing, you mean?
no,
Oh.
thinking about you competing in that made me cough a lot. So,
Eh,
um, for example, uh, the Sitka deer hunt.
yeah,
You know that it's all flat, but
but I
what
pedaled in like a champ.
you did pedal in, yep. But which still is
Sweating.
funny, still is funny.
It is
But
not funny.
the part of that is physically challenging is once you get back to where we go, walking through that clear cut. I mean, you're walking on a path that's muddy. You're walking through a foot of water and it's muddy and you're slipping and sliding. I mean, that wears you out. That wears your legs out compared to walking on a complete hard concrete ground. You're slipping everywhere and things, and then you got your tree stand and your
I think
pack.
that's what wore me out the most was
Yeah,
packing in every day and packing it all back out. I wish they'd
yeah,
let your stand up overnight, but
right.
they don't.
So that part of it is challenging. Each hunt has its own, challenges. But the part that got me because you're too old is that I packed your deer out for you. So I had to throw this thing on my shoulder, and I have a picture of it where I basically Chris had these. I think you got them or I got them or something. But the bags,
Yeah,
um,
they were donated by Brad.
that's right. Yep. And we put the meat we field packed out
They were
his
Coolabuck bags.
that's it, sick of
Yeah.
deer, and we put it all in the bags and we threw it on my tree stand, strapped it in, and I had to walk through this long clear cut through mud and things. And
For our viewing pleasure, I'll pull up a picture of that.
yep. And it was you know it was a little challenging, but um it wasn't the end of the world. But I bet you if I didn't hike and you know do all that stuff, I would have had to stop many times. And there you go. I had the meat on the back, and it's not a huge amount of meat because the animals are so small. But I'm not used to doing that type of thing, so um, I made it through. I didn't have to stop. I wasn't like gassed out or nothing. Um, yeah, there you go. Yep, that's it.
There's Dave for the viewing pleasure. He has a tree stand, and the
Right.
seat is folded down, or the platform, whichever it is. I
Hmm.
can't tell by the picture. But we stacked the meat on that shelf and strapped it on him, and he carried it out. So he got it out through that clear cut, muddy type terrain out
Yeah,
to the e-bike and e-biked it back to the truck.
yeah, which was about 2 miles. Carrying it on my back, riding the bike, but
2
there was
miles.
yeah, it's about 2 miles.
Oh,
It's like 1.79 or something, almost 2 miles. But my point is, I wasn't gassed out. But if I didn't do anything at all, probably would have been tough. And then last year, I did it, and I shot one last year. I had to do it again. I, quartered it up, threw it in a pack, but I had to make several trips because you got your stand, you got your pack, and your gun, and everything. So I had to carry the meat out. Then I came back and grabbed the rest of my stuff. Um, and when me and Zach went last year in October, it was really muddy. So I had to go a little bit slower and things, but it's not the end of the world. Each I mean, it's always best to be prepared. So, whatever hunting environment you're going in, you know, I guess
well,
coordinate your physical level to that hunting
yeah,
style.
know your limitations. We have every year in buck season, we have, like, you get the alerts on your phone. We have it called the Jefferson County Fire Wire. A lot of times there's these alerts where the fire department rescue crews called in where they have a missing persons. And normally it's some elderly man that is either lost in the woods and can't find his way out, or he shot something and tried to drag the deer by himself and had a heart attack, or is having a heart attack or something. You know, we have that situation up here all the time because, you know, they come from Pittsburgh or from Ohio to their camps here, and it's flat there, and you know, they're not prepared for this type of terrain, and then they try dragging a 125-pound deer behind them, a, a dead weight carcass, and that's a lot of stress on your heart, or your lungs if you're a smoker or something,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
a welder
Like Dragon One, you know, is hard. I mean, it gas you out. I
Oh,
mean,
it's tough.
it's hard. It's harder to do than throwing it on your back.
Yeah.
Packing it out. But I mean, all the deer that we drug at the farm together. I mean, you can only drag it, you know, 50 yards or something, and you got to stop and take a, breath. I mean, it gashes you out. But
Oh, and your legs are on fire, you
right,
know. I mean,
right,
you're just not prepared for it. So, I mean, I guess the moral of this whole thing is, this whole podcast is, you should get prepared for hunting season in some sort of way. Um, don't sit on a couch eating potato chips the whole time and then go out and shoot something and be one of these guys that get called to get rescued out of the woods.
right.
I mean, it wouldn't be a fun time for you, obviously, or your
No,
family members.
no,
Your
and like
family
you,
members will thank you for coming home safely.
yeah, and like you said, know your limits. I mean, I have this chest thing where I get, you know, I guess it's in my spine where it's pinching my nerves and my ribs and it wraps around. I get pain in my chest and stuff from it. So like when I carried your deer out, I had chest pain for like 3 weeks after that
Oh, trying to make me
until
feel guilty.
no, I'm just saying like, it because of that muscle like messes me up. And then like the other day I was
You
at
got
work
a muscle.
and this lady was in the parking lot and she had a flat tire, right? So it was her and her daughter, so I offered to help her. They couldn't get the lug nuts off the spare tire. Well, any kind of turning like this with the T-bar or force on this side, I could feel the pain in my chest. And I knew if I helped her that my chest is gonna hurt for 2 weeks because I'm gonna pull that muscle again. Well, as I was doing it, I literally felt the muscle in my chest like pop.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, here we go again. My chest is gonna hurt for 2 weeks again. And it did. It hurt for, I mean, turning that T-bar trying to get the lug nuts off, you know,
Mm.
it hurt. So the point is, if you got a screwed up back or something,
Don't be
at,
carrying a deer over your neck.
right, don't be carrying a deer or invest in a deer cart that might make it a little
Yeah.
easier, or maybe buy a cheap four wheeler. Like, be prepared because there's not always going to be somebody there to help you.
That's one of the points I was going to make was when you started into the dragon part. When I shot that bear a couple years back there, I had people that would help me, and they had a cart with pneumatic tires.
Hmm.
And I shot this thing all the way down by the river. We had to go down. I felt bad. We had to go way down over. Now it wasn't a humongo bear. If they weren't there to help, I was just going to skin it and bag it and carry it out myself. But my phone started ringing as soon as I got done shooting because some guys knew about the area I was in, and they were like, "Was that you shooting?" I said, "Yeah, I got a small sow." And okay, meet us back at the truck, and we'll get the deer cart out, and we'll take it down and get it. I said, "Okay, fine, great, thank you." So met them up there. I got some of my clothes off because I was all sweaty and all jacked up. Got up to the truck. We grabbed the cart. We went down over the mountain, and the mountain's full of I mean, it's full of old logging trails, but they're only as like walking trails now. They had gotten so narrow, and so four of us went down, and we took turns, two at a time, grabbing the grab bar and dragging it. But like you said, even with pneumatic tires and a 168-pound sow on a cart, she it 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 gassed us. Like, we could only get, like, maybe 50, 60, 70 yards, and then we'd stop, and the other 2 would t take hold and grab it and start dragging it, and we just worked our way up the mountain, up through this old logging cut, and, I'll tell you, that and the time that I shot that big buck and it ran I shot it on top of the mountain, it ran all the way to the bottom and died, and I made a video about that too, where I time lapsed with a GoPro, me skinning it down and bagging it and carrying it out and getting it to the top of the mountain. That was multiple trips. I think I took it out in 2 trips. Um, but that gassed me out too. But, you know, the average 50, 60, 70-year-old man's that's not prepared for anything like that is not going to make it out alive.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
s- so I was probably 17 or something, 18. I was hunting with somebody else, and we got these permits to hunt this state land that like just opened up. And you had to get these permits, and you actually had to pick a day that you wanted to hunt. It
mm,
wasn't like a lottery or something. You would literally fill this paper out and like pick the day that you wanted to hunt. That's how they used to do it years ago. And we had to walk through this long cornfield. I bet you probably a mile. Got back to the woods. It went into the woods, dropped down, back up, dropped down, and then back up again. And we hunted the other side. And I shot this buck. We couldn't get it out. We couldn't drag it. So what we ended up doing was we literally cut the deer in half and drug it out in halves.
yeah,
And so there's always a way, but don't feel bad if if you can't get it out in one piece. Like, I feel like the quartering up part and packing it out is like a lot of people don't think about that. Like, bring game bags with you. I mean, you can buy some game bags. They're fairly cheap and
yeah,
they're worth the investment. If you have to quarter it up, quarter it up, take it out in pieces. I mean, you don't have to drag the whole deer in one piece.
No,
You know,
no,
quarter it
and
up.
the thing is, what are you in a hurry for?
Right.
You know, I'm always huffing and puffing and dragging, and I'm like, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. What am I
Right.
in a hurry for? You know,
Yeah.
it's like I got all day to get this deer out. Like I don't want to have a heart attack dragging this buck. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Best
know
advice
why.
is quarter it up, take it out in pieces. I mean, I've done it.
Yeah,
I've done it many times. I never did it at the farm, at the old farm, because I always had the four
well, we
wheeler
were
there. But
either that or we were together. Now
yeah,
that first doe I shot at the farm,
you
and
were by
we had,
yourself.
yeah, remember we had that blind in the Egyptian wheat, and we
I
cleared a
remember.
round area. We cleared a spot for the blind to sit in the Egyptian wheat, and I sat in that sucker, and a big doe come up over below the lucky stand, came up, and it was about 100, I don't know, 100, yard shot, and dropped this big doe. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm like at the furthest point of the food plot, and I'm thinking, this is going to be a long time out of here. And it was just about dark already. I was by myself. I did bring the deer cart, but my deer cart has the solid wheels, they're not pneumatic. And you know how that hill is that comes out of the farm. It's
It'll.
like, what do you think that thing is? 30, 40, 50? That's probably 45-degree angle coming up out of there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty steep
It
coming up
get you.
out of there.
It'll get you.
Remember your truck got stuck coming up there at one time,
The
it
Dodge.
was, yeah, the Dodge. It was coming up out of
Yeah.
there, and we spun out, had to back down and hit it hard.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's steep enough that the truck spun out,
Yeah, it'll get
you
you.
know. So there I was in the dark with a weak headlamp, and and I had the deer cart, and this doe was monstrous. I mean, it was bigger than I was, and the thought went through my mind of just sawing this thing in half and taking two trips, but it was already dark, and I'm like, I'm not staying here all dang night to haul this thing out. So I huffed and puffed and drug that thing up. I would, I had a, you remember how rocky and stony that was too? There was a lot of like shale and rocks and stuff on the way up that slope. I would
Hmm.
like I would like backwards. I was pulling it towards me. I'd get like 10, 15 feet, and I'd throw a stone under the tire so it wouldn't roll back downhill.
I don't want to cut you off, but I have a. I'm not gonna say it, but if I if I ever had a place similar to that,
Hmm.
I would put a pulley system at the top of the hill.
Oh, geez, I know what's
Uh,
coming.
I would put it at the very top with an
You mean
electric winch.
you mean if you ever had a place similar to that, huh?
Yes, I would have a
Uh,
winch at the very
uh,
top because I have one. I have an
oh,
electric winch.
okay.
I would hook pulley system around the bends, so I'd have a
Mm.
pulley on it, and there would be a cable going all the way to the bottom, and I would have a 12-volt battery sitting there and hit that freaking button, and that deer would dolly up that hill with
Oh
no
my.
issues.
So
It,
so
it's
we've
yeah,
got something planned.
I got something planned
Okay, okay, gotcha,
if
gotcha.
that ever came about.
Well, you could make it even shorter, and put it up past the up over the hill, like where the old pallet used to sit. Where when I heard voices, you could go straight up through the apple orchard, up over the pallet, right to the truck, to the field.
Mhm.
That'd be a nice
Yeah,
straight shot, just straight up
yeah,
over.
yeah, you could do that, yep. You'd have to have a yeah, you'd have to have a because you gotta mount the,
Well,
winch to a
there's
tree.
a tree there. There's a
Yeah,
tree there.
right.
Yeah,
Just
funny.
just a thought.
Just a thought, he says.
I mean, you buy a couple cable pulleys, they're cheap, put a lag bolt through a tree, and that thing
Yeah,
would zip right through there.
that's
Get a
funny.
couple 100-foot rope, you know, and,
Yeah,
that thing
right.
would slide right on up there.
Yeah, I mean that's using your head.
Well, when you get older, you get
When you get
smarter.
older, you gotta get smarter. I mean,
Yep.
like I said, you don't want to be one of these guys out there having heart attacks, especially if you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
But
All
well,
right.
that's gonna wrap up episode 125. Just be just be mindful of your physical fitness going in. Like Dave, he's dying. Like I wouldn't recommend Dave go out and drag a deer today.
No,
He would be spitting tar balls up.
I did get a hike in this morning now.
But he did go walking. And the Z
Yep.
pack is working.
And the Z pack.
He's like cartwheels and stuff. So I just do want to add again that I was sick for 3 months and then he's been sick for 3 days and he's dying. I'll leave you on that note.
Yeah,
Any,
well,
any rebuttal?
no.
Okay, that's 125. See you guys. Be